Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud. Just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch. But he says they have paused these programs. They've brought in outside auditors to get an idea of how far-reaching this fraud was. They're taking steps to keep it from happening again. And he's defending his management of the state while also taking shots at Republicans and the president.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Minnesota is also now home to the single largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. And Republicans argue that Walz and other Democrats opened the door to this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, people are happy here. Yeah, they're happy. They have maybe $8 billion in their pockets. Thanks to taxpayers from the United States. I'd be happy, too, if someone gave me $1 billion just to splurge. Or send wherever you want to send. Welcome, my friends. It is Saturday morning. Welcome to the Saturday morning extravaganza, the Saturday morning vibe. Hope you enjoy that first, second, third cup of coffee with us this morning. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. 800-848-9222. Let's tell you what we have coming in the program today. Dr. Peter Michalos will be with us. We're hoping he wants, and I asked him if he could come on and talk to us about two things in the news. One, the CDC trying to roll back some of the vaccine schedules for kids, which, by the way, Donald Trump has endorsed that move, wants to put it on the fast track. Also, Obamacare. Democrat liberals are having a cow because the subsidies are expiring on that. The subsidies that they put into sunset. And now they're begging Republicans, please come help us save Obamacare. So we've got that. You have this business in Minnesota, and this Minnesota story is huge. Story today in the Daily Mail, the Somali fraud in Minnesota is the biggest theft of taxpayer dollars in U.S. history, says the White House. And Americans are going to be shocked at the things that are being uncovered. Also, in the news, as you know, the Supreme Court this week, two big things. They're going to take a look at the birthright citizenship case. We want to maybe take a look at that with you. There was the ruling on the Texas redistricting, which is got liberals upset. Looking forward to hearing today from Dr. Peter Michalos, as I said. Also, of course, Princess Diana will be visiting with us later in the program. Cannot wait to hear what she has to say about the events of the day. America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, will be here as well. And our very own Lizzie Rattoballi. Now, Lizzie doesn't know this yet, but we did a story during the week, and I'm going to play one or two of the sound bites. I think, Lizzie, I have a sneaking suspicion that Lizzie and I are going to agree on this one. And that is the call from our transportation secretary. I think he's doing a great job But I think there's a little bit of angst and upset over one of the things that he has requested, which is that you people dress up a little bit more when you're going on planes. Stop coming on planes with your pajamas and everything else, and just kind of make yourselves a little bit more classy. And there's a reaction to that people are not happy with. So those are just some of the things on the order. Let's jump in to this business in Minnesota very quickly. As I said, Daily Mail today has a story. Somali refugees. How could I? Donald Trump said some things at the cabinet meeting that have many people upset. In fact, I said, look, no. When he referred to Ilhan Omar and her friends as garbage, and many people took that remark to mean the entire population of Somalis in Minnesota was garbage. And when you make a blanket statement, everybody's something. But he did say Ilhan Omar and her friends, but that is being lost in it. We had a reaction from a guy that actually I asked people, do you think we ought to play this again? It's a little bit long, and they said, yeah, play this again. Because it's a guy that was interpreting what Trump said, and we will get to that with this business in Somali. But Somali refugees in Minnesota have committed the biggest theft of taxpayer dollars in U.S. history, and local Democrat officials were fully complicit in the scheme, White House officials said Friday night. Federal authorities announced this week that 86 people, mostly within the small Somali communities in the states, have stolen more than $1 billion in public funds that were meant to feed children. We know that. But also it extends to, and we covered this. We had a soundbite that covered, there's a homeless program that was wrapped up in a whole fraudulent network, and also autism therapy. Suspects allegedly ran companies that billed Minnesota state officials for millions of dollars in social services that were never delivered. It's since been revealed that Representative Ilhan Omar and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had connections with at least some of the Somali refugees. Let's not forget the Attorney General of the state, Keith Ellison. He has, and there are whistleblowers that say, hey, we tried to alert these people what was going on, and not only did they not do anything, but they actually tried to work against the whistleblowers and treat them pretty badly as well. So that's what's part of that. That wasn't in the story. I'm telling you that's part of what is happening in the overall scheme. Now, U.S. Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller said authorities believe the state government is fully complicit in this scheme. And we believe what we're gonna uncover is going to shock the American people. He added that evidence federal prosecutors have already collected show that this Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of tax dollars in American history. The total tab for this is going to be far beyond the numbers we've already seen. And he mentioned that 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. That's a significant undercount of just how much financial burden the Somali refugee population is imposing on the country, he said. So this is going to continue to expand, and people are commenting on it. Let us begin with cut number 2, followed by a state senator. Her name is Zainab Mohammed, and it goes by quickly. But first is Ilhan Omar, cut 2, and just fraud in her district.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
And I believe this is the person that was arrested by ICE last night, detained by ICE last night. 22. State Senator Zainab Mohammed.
State Senator Zaida Mohammed says these attacks won't stop with Somalis, and their contributions can't easily be erased.
We are in every industry, and Minnesota would not be able to survive nor thrive without the Somali community here.
So I don't know whether you went by quick. The state senator says Minnesota as a state would not be able to survive without the Somali immigrant population. The state of Minnesota in the United States would not be able to survive without the Somali refugees who Obama played a large part in bringing in. Next up, I want to go back on a flashback. The year was 2018. Those of you who listen to the Rush Limbaugh Show will remember that over a decade ago, Jason Lewis was one of the regular guest hosts on the program. Jason, a regular program, and then Jason ran for Congress, successfully served the term. While he was serving the term in 2018, 7 years ago, 2018, Jason was trying to alert people as to what was going on in Minnesota. Jason Lewis cut 6. And this is Jason Lewis describing something that now is in the headline.
Situation in my home state of Minnesota where we've got a number of daycare providers that are openly violating federal and state laws and regulations, taking money for personal use, using the money to set up a fraudulent child care client, and then providing a kickback has been reported. This is a major issue. There are allegations that, well, not just several, we've got 23 child care or daycare centers either closed or under investigation. The fraud may go as high as $100 million. Now think about that. In fiscal year 2018, Minnesota received $120 million in federal funding. The state contributed about $50 million in matching and maintenance funds, and we may have a fraud case of nearly $100 million in this state, with money then being transferred out of the country via MSP Airport. This is a big issue in my home state of Minnesota. Can you share with me what your agency is doing to investigate this? And I'm just wondering if we could not come up with some form of stricter enforcement to monitor the states that are receiving these funds to make certain that there's some sort of oversight here. Thank you for your testimony today. I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah. Can we have some oversight here? 2018, we've got money leaving the state, shipping these significant millions and millions of dollars. Folks, this has been going on a long time. They said it was COVID related. Ilhan Omar earlier this week said, well, we don't have the infrastructure because everything was done so quickly. That is not the case here. This has been going on in Minnesota for a long time, apparently. Now, before we head off to the break, one more. Senator John Kennedy cut 5 from the Senate floor on the fraud that is occurring in Minnesota.
Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, using threats, using repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got the full weight of retaliation by Tim Walz and an indifferent mainstream media. It's scary. It is disgusting, Mr. President. Disgusting. We're trying to put together a budget right now. And we've got state officials in Minnesota, because they wanted votes, that are allowing people in their state who are crooks to steal $1 billion from the American taxpayer. Money that could have gone to people who really were homeless, and children who really were hungry, and kids who through no fault of their own really were autistic. Instead of stolen, a portion of which allegedly was sent to a terrorist organization in Somalia. Man, these people ought to all be put in jail, including the politicians. Makes me want to stick my head in an oven.
Yeah. James Golden, Snerdley, we have a lot more to go.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This moment in the history of our nation is a terrible, challenging moment for so many people, not just the dreamers, but immigrants in general. I've been both angry and heartbroken to watch masked federal agents parading in their combat uniforms with automatic weapons in the city of Chicago. I've seen them wreak havoc in these communities and sow fear among people who are afraid to even go outside to go to church or to go shopping. And it's time that we bring an end to this madness that's happening in the streets of the cities of America.
Number 2, Senate, Dick Durbin, blaming ICE for the havoc. You notice they never ever talk about the havoc that is caused by individuals' life because of illegal immigration. People are scared. Why are people scared? The only people that should have a problem are people that broke the law coming into the United States. But boy, we have an immigration stack for you. I'm not done with Minnesota, by the way, yet either. We have a stack for you today on immigration that is just unbelievable. Some of the things, and Democrats are on the wrong side. Also, Democrats, again, upset because we are killing narco terrorists, because the administration is. All of those things on the table and more. 800-848-9222 if you're going to give us a call this morning. And we'd love to hear from you, by the way. 800-848-9222 is that number to reach us. And we will try to squeeze in as many calls as we can during the program today. Let me see. I'm just looking at the clock. Nope, not enough time to be fair to another soundbite.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I want to get to people on the phone. If you're on hold, please stay on hold. We're going to get to phones really quickly, but I got to play 2 things for you. Yesterday we played this. You know, Donald Trump cabinet meeting. We're not going to play it again. You've heard it. Called Ilhan Omar and her friends garbage. They should just get the hell out of here. And talked about the Somali, if their country's so good, why do they come here bitching all the time and moaning? Okay, instant reaction. Here is a reaction from a guy. This runs a little bit lengthy, so just be patient with it. And I asked the crew yesterday if I asked Princess Di, asked Lady Benedict and others, should we play this again? They said absolutely, and you'll hear why. Here it is.
I'm going to be honest, y'all, man. Donald Trump said some I think all of us wanted to say, man, especially when people come here and get all the good graces of the United States of America, everything that their hearts and dreams and desires to get. But then you got people like Ilhan Omar and individuals that's from other countries who migrated here and became a congresswoman, whatever the hell you are. You complain about how bad the U.S. is and how great your country is. Well, bitch, if it's so bad, then why don't you take your ass back to Somalia? Like Donald Trump said, all y'all do is come over here and bitch about how bad this country is. But I promise you, if we didn't open the door up for y'all asses, you'll probably be dead. So you mean to tell me you're going to come here and scam the U.S. and send that back to your country using our welfare system to fund terrorists? And yes, y'all mother fund terrorists. They skim off the top. I mean, come on now. When the last time you heard somebody say, we booking a trip to Mogadishu? Bitch, please. I mean, the same thing when I hear illegal immigrants come over here and demand rights. And it's so crazy that Our leftists and young people are so brainwashed. Even black people on our side, they want to fight for these illegal immigrants. Bro, if you took your ass to Honduras or Colombia and did the that they do here, bro, your black ass wouldn't even make it. They would ship your ass right on off. It just defies logic, some of the stuff that I hear these people fight for, man. Bro, again, if the U.S. ain't if the U.S. is so bad, if the U.S. is so racist, and you come from another country, like Donald Trump said, you can bitch, but why don't you take your ass back home and fix that? You won't. I mean, we have the most blessed, generous nation in the world. But it's so crazy that people feel like they are entitled to it. No, you're not entitled to it. Especially like Donald Trump said today. You add nothing to the system. Nothing but hands. Even if you came here as a refugee, even if you came here as a asylum seeker, that just didn't automatically give you the right to go into the welfare system and live off of it for the rest of your life. Let's think about TPS. Yes, temporary protected status. Bro, everyone wants you to be protected and to stay here and to get here and not have to leave. But everybody forgets the fact of the matter is temporary. Bro, the left, you want them to stay here. And when they get here, why would you want to work? If I give you the welfare teat and you can sit on it for the rest of your life, why would I want to go anywhere? Why would I want to thrive? Why would I want to work for anything? And it's crazy when we have veterans on the street. Honestly, sometimes in this world, I just believe I'm in a whole different world, man. Common sense means nothing. And that's why I'm attracted to Donald Trump, man. His logic, man. It's straightforward. It's not sugar-coated. It's not cut. It's telling the real ass that we really think, what you're afraid to say. And it resonates to those who work their ass off, those who love this country, those who put in the time, those that don't need nobody to tell them what they need to do or a hand up, those that didn't come from money, those who knows how to struggle and how to get up on their feet, those who bought that money to go get it. Bro, Donald Trump, keep talking your bro, because me and millions of them, we feel what the hell you saying. Stop all the bitching. Take your ass back home if you don't like it.
Yeah, that, wonder what your reactions are to that, if you want to comment on it. Fine. We have another young man. He's not quite, how shall I say, he expresses himself just a little differently, but I think, Kevin, would you agree that the sentiments are fairly similar?
Yeah, and the language, I think, too. The amount of bleeps per minute.
Okay, well, let's hear him. Let's hear what he has to say.
Trump said, Trump said you don't like our country, get the out. He said they come from hell. Go back to where the came from. This is what Trump said. If you don't like America, leave. Stand for that? Yeah, be hard on immigration. Be hard on all that over here. Americans making us look bad like we the enemy. No, coming us. We Americans. We live here. We born here. If you don't like our country, man, I feel like Trump feel. Get the out. If you want to come over here and start complaining, bitching and whining about what the going on in America, how the we treating people now, we treat Americans good. We love America. We didn't ask for this here. Y'all came invaded our land, our country, and all that there. That's how I feel. If you don't like it, man, don't follow me, man. Because I'm going to tell the truth, man. That's just how I feel. Trump said I said too. Go Trump. Better, I love all that. Make America great again. He is not wrong. He should have blew the boat up and blew that 2 more times behind it. I ain't saying kill nobody, but keep America safe. Too many drugs killing these kids out here, man. These grown dumb doing them crazy ass drugs. Make America great again. Am I wrong? This Christian patriot, man. Follow me.
Well, there you have it. Opinion commentary from social media. Now, we're going to do this, take a quick break. In fact, let's take a break now so that we have some time on the other side for calls. Why don't we do that? 800-848-9222. We have more. When we get back, I also want you to hear Representative Adelita Grijalva, she was just a big DQ because she, during the government shutdown, when Democrats shut it down, she won special election, and she wasn't sworn in until after the government was open. So she turned into a DQ. She's still out DQing.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Snerdley. All right, we have people on the telephones. I do want to get to some people. I'm just going to ask you folks, if when we get to you, just right to your point. We got plenty of people here. We want to get to as many of you as possible. Let us start in Astoria, Queens, New York, with Donald. Welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, James. It's Donald. I spoke to you briefly about this about a month ago. Getting back premiums for the Affordable Care
I can
Act.
barely hear you. It sounds like you're calling in a tunnel somewhere.
Okay,
Tell you what, I'm going to put you on hold. Come off your speakerphone. We'll try to recycle, get back with you. Folks, not on the speakerphone. We can't hear you. Let's go to North Carolina and Robert. Robert, good morning. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay. Good morning, James. I moved from Suffolk County in New York to North Carolina. Well, anyways, in that, I got a new health plan. I thought I was all set. Then I get a letter from HHS telling me my plan will no longer be available as of January 1st of 2026. So I had to scramble and then get a new plan, which I did. The problem is that the subsidies, until there's some clear, at least direction from Congress and Trump, what's going to happen with the subsidies or replacing Obamacare, a failed system, what's going to happen with that? Doctors
what do you want to happen with
patients.
it? Are you, is your plan on Obamacare? Are you one of the Obamacare? Is it one of the Obamacare plans?
No, and I'm glad I'm not because...
Oh, good. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What do you want to happen with Obamacare?
Okay, I want it replaced with something else because that would be better for consumers. For example, Trump talked about the healthcare savings accounts. I think that's a good idea. And for a period, there should be price caps. How much that premiums could be increased any year for the next 3 years. So that people could still be able to afford insurance. I mean, prices will always go up. You're going to pay more in premiums, co-pays, etc. That's nothing new. But there should be some limits. Doctors aren't accepting new patients until they have some kind of clear direction as to what's going to happen in 2026 and going forward.
Well, let me just suggest this to you. I think that we need to start looking at how we can get rid of the insurance companies as middlemen, except for catastrophic illnesses. I think that's one of the things that we should look at. But Dr. Peter Michalos is going to be with us. I'm going to ask him about those things, too. He is a doctor. He knows the system from the inside. Thank you so much, Robert, in North Carolina. Let's go to Jim calling from Secaucus. Jim, how are you?
Okay. I want to ask you that I heard on your station, read in the paper that 60% of the immigrants, of the voters were brand new that voted. And a lot of them are illegal that came in after March, January 20th of 2021. The Constitution that I read says you have to be here 5 years before you're eligible to vote and stuff. Could that election be challenged because of it?
Look, I don't know where those numbers came from, so it's difficult for me to answer a question based on that premise. I will say this. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Supreme Court comes up with birthright citizenship. Princess Diana and I don't know whether we're going to have time for that today, but that's something that I would ask her about in terms of the birthright citizenship. Now, as for naturalized citizens voting, I don't know. To be frank, I'm going to look at that. Thank you for bringing it up. I don't really have an opinion on that. I need to look into it, but I need to look into those numbers that you raised first. In Cape Cod, Scotty is on the line. Good morning, Scotty. How are you? Scotty in Cape Cod, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Scotty. How are you?
I'm wonderful, James. James, this is, I don't have anything political to say. I just wanted to give you some kudos, and of course to Princess Diana. I hang on every word. I'm up every Saturday morning just because I want to listen to your show. And I found out that you were born 2 days after I was in 1955. So we have some sort of an interesting tie there. I love your show. And like I said, I don't have any political input right now. I listen mostly, and I take it all in. But God bless you, James. And here we are entering into the high holidays, and I want to give you my love to the holidays, and hope you have a great time.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much. You have warmed my heart. I so appreciate it. Thank you for making the effort to be with us every week. I so appreciate that. And for your very kind words, Scotty. You know, and I know just by what you're saying that you go back. I know that I know you're a ditto head. I can just tell that we go back a long ways. Is that, am I right here?
Yes, you are. Yeah. And, I bought Rush on the Radio. I'm just starting to read it, you know. I miss him so much, and I'm sure you do too. We'll talk about that some other time. But anyway, keep going, James. Keep going.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. Thank you, folks. All right, 800-848-9222 is the number to call. We've got more coming up. I'm just looking to see if we have time to be. Yes, we do. Very quickly. On the subject of immigration, Pramila Jayapal, cut 36. Pramila Jayapal on PMS, whatever they are now, had this to say about America's immigration population and who's responsible for building this nation.
The majority of Americans across the country, regardless of political party, know that immigrants from all over the world, Somalia, India, wherever they're from, Latin America, Africa, that immigrants have built this country and make this country what it is today.
Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that immigrants from Somalia, from Africa, from wherever they are, the immigrants built the country and made it what it is? Not anybody else. It was the immigrants that did that. Did you know that?
I thought I did, but I always wait for self-righteous politicians to tell me, to reassure that things I learned many years ago were true. So, yeah, they're so much smarter than us.
Yeah. No, the founders, I guess, to this nation and those people. And how about the Native Americans? Didn't they do something? No, it's just the immigrants. And she put forward a bill, by the way, which we'll deal with if we have time, so that immigrants should be able to, in other words, just stop the deportations. Stop them. Well, my friends, hour number uno in the can. Hour number duo coming up. Whatever you do, keep it right here. Do not go away. Saturday morning vibe here. Stay with us.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends. Hour number duo underway here. The Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. Listen, before we get started, I just want to mention something that is important for us. We're in the holiday season, and you, no matter where you are in the country, can join Red Apple Audio Networks. The AARP, New York City, the Police Athletic League, Ristides, D'Agostino Supermarkets, and Nationwide Imaging Services as we deliver holiday meals to more than 5,000 families across the city. If you go to redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey, you can help spread some holiday cheer. This holiday season, help the Red Apple Audio Networks feed people in need. Your donation helps put a meal on the table. It is not a Minnesota deal. So, you can confidently be assured that meals will get to where they need to be for families in need. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey, redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey. It is time for Red Apple Media star anchorette supremo, She's the voice of her generation. And I have a funny feeling, as I said today, that Lizzie and I are going to end up agreeing on something. Perhaps. Our very own Lizzie Rattoballi is in the house, full of holiday cheer, no doubt. Good morning, Lizzie.
Good morning, Bo. Yes, I'm in a very jolly mood this morning. It's officially December, so we're officially in the Christmas season. I had my Christmas tree up the day after Thanksgiving, as I always do. I have a fake tree. I'm allowed to do that. So, but I'm in the Christmas spirit. The lights are all around. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah. I don't have any Christmas decorations up yet.
You gotta get some.
Yeah, I have them in boxes, and they might stay in. No, I'm going.
It is a lot of work. It is a big undertaking every year to haul it out.
Unless you're like a raccoon and you just are already in the spirit of things.
Emphasis on spirits, yes.
Raccoons on spirits. Tell us about that one, Lizzie.
So this is a story that came out of Virginia. A group of animal control agents.
Lizzie, I saw the pictures. I saw the pictures of this.
I know the pictures. The pictures are available online. I encourage anyone with a phone in tow to go online and find them right now. If you look up drunk raccoon, I'm sure it will pop up. So a raccoon ransacked a liquor store in Virginia and actually, like, they did some damage economically. $250 worth of alcohol the raccoon either, damaged or consumed. The raccoon got into the liquor supply. That was confirmed by the rescue team that ended up. He was taken to an animal shelter. He was very intoxicated. The photos of this raccoon, he is, if I could just paint a picture, he's next to the toilet. So, many drunk nights ended up like that for human beings, I'm sure. But for this raccoon, just the same. He is face down, belly out, all four limbs completely starfished, and he is just face planted on the floor. And yeah, just passed out drunk. He was very intoxicated. He was taken to a shelter to recover. He showed no signs of being hurt, despite he fell through the ceiling to get through to this store. He fell through the ceiling, damaged the security system. So unfortunately, we don't have the security footage of this raccoon just making a mess. I really wish it's like kismet that raccoon must have known what he was doing. Actually, now I'm like kind of suspicious of this raccoon.
It's like, it's holiday time. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, $250 worth of alcohol. I mean, it's just another night for this raccoon, I'm sure.
And the picture was so funny. Him just splayed out, just looking like he had just taken. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask you how police did this. This is down in New Zealand. They recovered a 19,000 Fabergé egg.
Yes.
That was swallowed by a man. Lizzie, how did the police recover that egg?
Well, what goes in must come out. And this egg went in, and
But wait a minute, Lizzie, I don't. Okay, let me just say this. I'll try. Fabergé eggs are not exactly. I mean,
it is not. No, it is not an egg. It's not an egg shape. It's a very ornate deal. It's got 60 diamonds, 15 sapphires. It's got a miniature octopus on this one. This one actually has a miniature octopus because it's modeled after the James Bond film. And this guy passed it naturally. He was able, no medical intervention was required, but they are monitoring this guy. He underwent a medical assessment, and they're keeping an eye on him because, of course, he is now in custody. He's been charged with theft. And this guy, he really puts the maniac in kleptomaniac because apparently after this heist that he did, this Fabergé egg that is worth, upwards of $19,000 in US dollars. But he stole this egg And then he stole an iPad from that same jewelry store and then stole a bunch of cat litter and flea control products. So it just like kind of down the drain as far as quality wise of what he's getting away with his sticky fingers. But he's got a problem, this guy, clearly.
Well, I wonder what else he swallowed. Never mind. Okay, you have a story here that I don't quite understand for me, Lizzie. Somebody chose a color this year for the first time ever. Who is it? Why do I care? Who is that? What is it?
So Pantone, that's the paint company that is the known. Yes, the Pantone.
It's a paint.
Yes, they're a paint company. They're known as the color authority of the world. I don't know. Yes, I mean they employ, like I said, they're a paint company, so they have like a bunch of scientists working for them, and a whole team who looks at different social values, art collections, travel sites, and they look at all this and they consider, what is the overall vibe? If we could sum up the upcoming year in a color, what would it be? Mm-hmm. What would it be?
What was the color?
For the first time ever, it's white. It's white, and it's named Cloud Dancer. Now, I do have to pick a bone with Pantone because they're, like I said, they're known as the Global Color Authority. Well, so yes, that you are kind of understanding where the think pieces immediately went. The think pieces immediately said, "Oh, this is a sign of America's slipping into fascism." But what Pantone argues is actually they're painting, no pun intended, they're painting a completely different picture here. They say that this color was chosen because it's an act, it's supposed to be a whisper of calm and peace in a noisy world. They say it's...
Tell it to the Indian...
They say it signifies a desire...
Tell it to the Never mind.
They say it signifies our desire for a fresh start, peeling away layers.
So wait a minute. So white is fresh start.
That is
white is peace.
Yes, no, that you're going exactly where you're going exactly where all the think pieces have gone immediately.
Well,
I
understand the left. I understand what they're going to say about this.
Yeah, no, so
as soon as they hear it.
Yeah, I'm
surprised that they're not saying, are you going to put a MAGA cap on it?
Well, last year, notably, the color was a mocha mousse. It was a brown. For year of 2025, it was supposed to. It was supposed to represent warmth and harmony, and before that, it was peach fuzz, and it was supposed to also peach fuzz, and it was like peach color, apricot, and it was supposed to represent also
what color is peach fuzz?
Yeah, calm and comfort during times of stress and anxiety. All the past 3 years, they've kind of really harped on this idea of a chaotic world that we're living in and this need for, a nice, peaceful color. But all the colors they've been choosing are terrible. I'm sorry, when I think of calm, I don't think of this harsh white color. If anything, I think of I don't know, maybe a cool blue or a warm yellow. I don't know. I feel like they're doing a lot of thinking here, a lot of overthinking when it should just be hey, here's a cool color. Look at this color.
Color of the year.
Yeah.
White. Okay. So Lizzie, I got something for you. I think we may agree on something. I'm going to play something for you. Rod, cut 27. It was the secretary. I think he's doing a great job, by the way. I have to say that up front. Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, cabinet meeting, but he had made this remark before. And here he is. Lizzie.
Mr. President, a lot of us, I fly commercially, I fly back by the bathrooms. I don't know why that happens. They put me in the back. We've asked Americans to bring their better selves, to bring stability back to travel, to say, listen, let's say please and thank you. And if someone's pregnant on your flight and you're as strong as Pete is, well, pick up the bag and help her put it in the overhead bin. Let's be nice to each other, is what we've asked. Maybe not wear pajamas or slippers on the airplane. And I think it's been received fairly well, and I think we can all have a better travel experience when we do that.
That was the short version. He has called for people not only should just be nice, be better travelers, be more civil with each other, but stop wearing your damn pajamas and your slippers on the airplane. Dress for success on the airplanes. Lizzie, what is your reaction to the idea? There's, by the way, people are revolting. They're going out purposely buying pajamas so that they can fly.
Yeah,
they don't like it.
Right. That sounds about right. Honestly, yeah, I do think he kind of poked the bear here a little bit. I do agree, of course, with his message of, social cohesion above everything, help out one another. If you see, I like the idea of if you see a pregnant woman, help her with her bags. That's a nice idea. But the PJs, a lot of people, when it comes to their comfort, that's above everything. I mean, we're living in a world where athleisure is kind of like the number one fashion trend right now. It's all about being comfortable and kind of wearing sweatpants to the office, and finding creative ways to just, wear the most comfortable clothes you can. So I don't know if I think that's the wrong hill to die on, is the PJs on the planes. I mean, I think the civility, that should be really the focus. I think that...
Here's what I think. I think part of the problems of civility on the planes go back to... Look, Lizzie, I have been... When you cramp people in like they're cattle, economy, you can't even open up a freaking laptop if you're in the economy. So you can't. You sit there, and if a person dares to try to recline their seat, they're banging in you, making your life miserable, and this gets people upset. I think one of the reasons that people do not have the kind of respect they used to have for airlines is because the airlines don't have the respect for the consumers that they used to have. They treat these horrid seating arrangements on most economy flights, and I won't fly economy. I just can't. I'm too big. It's just not going to work. It doesn't. If you're tall, forget about it.
Yeah.
You get off feeling like you've been wounded off of these flights. It's like the airline, and I understand economy, I understand the business of it. You have to make airlines profitable. I get the competition and all of that. But people were posting, in response to this, pictures of what air service used to be like.
Yeah.
They said, well, you bring back really good service and then talk to people about how they're dressing on the plane.
Yeah, I completely agree 1,000% with that. I mean, I think it starts, kind of at the top and the treatment towards the customer, and you kind of, a plane is essentially like a pressure cooker. Like you're stuck in that environment for an unknown period of time. Things could go wrong. Things could happen. You could be held at the tarmac with these people. So, you have to act a certain way. You have to be civil, but you also have to be comfortable. I saw recently there was a European airline just announced a new plane that would have standing room only. They would get rid of seats in order to pack more people on the plane. I have to find the specifics of that so I could send it to you.
Oh, please do.
But yeah, like that it goes into what you're saying. I mean, the quality of service has gone down, so you can't expect the quality of, people showing up. People aren't going to show up in a 3-piece suit to, sit uncomfortably in a plane for an unknown period of time and, just get a bottle of water and crackers with it.
If you're lucky. Some airlines are even charging you for the bottle of water these days.
Exactly.
The No Frills airline. So there you go. Lizzie, thank you so much. If you can find that story, that is a safety. I'm surprised. I don't know whether they would be allowed to fly in the United States. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, it's insane.
But please send that along, Lizzie.
Will do. Thank you so much, Bill.
Always a pleasure. And if you have Fabergé eggs, my friend, please don't ingest. It must be a very rough,
I'll try my hardest.
Yes. Thank you, Lizzie. Lizzie Rattoballi, ladies and gentlemen. James Golden, Snerdley here. Coming up later, Princess Diana is going to be with us. Coming up later, America's Small Caffeinated Mom. And coming up later, Dr. Peter Michalos is going to be with us, too.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Dom is in Minnesota, but we are running out of time in this segment. Let's see. Dom, I'm going to tell you what. Dom, quickly, I just want to say hello, but I want you to hold on through the break. Okay, Dom?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're in Minnesota. Minnesota right now is in the news front and center on the fraud scandal. And I want to get your take on what's happening on the fraud front, too. But I also got to talk to Dr. Peter Michalos. So I want everybody on the phone to just be patient with us. What we're going to do when we get back, we're going to talk to Dr. Michalos, and then we're going to come back and grab more calls. I got 2 questions for Dr. Peter Michalos, and we are going to speak with him coming back. More of your calls coming up. Princess Diana's coming up. Rhonda Schrock, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, is coming up. And we're here. Saturday mornings. The Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. James Golden, Bo Snerdley.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Dr. Michalos is with us. Good morning, America's doctor on the line. How are you?
Good morning, Bo, and it's great to be on the show that's filled with facts, good humor, and great music.
Oh, well, thank you. Doctor, I have 2 questions for you. And I want you to I'm going to lay the questions out and then let you go. You tell us. First question. This week, the administration adjusted the vaccine recommendations, especially for hepatitis B. And that's going to do. And then Trump said later in the week, yesterday, that he wants to make sure that the CDC, he's ordered a review of the entire childhood vaccine schedule. He says the United States is an outlier, and he points to nations like Denmark or the Danish nations where they have fewer vaccines for young children. That's number one. The second, so what do you think about that? And should people be alarmed, especially with this new recommendation from Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. and the others at the CDC on hepatitis B? Number 2, Obamacare. Subsidies. Democrats are having a cow. In 9 days, the subsidies expire. They're demanding that everybody jump to it and deal with these sunsetted policies that they put in place that were COVID-era subsidies, and so just Obamacare. There are your 2 questions. What do you have to say, good doctor?
Okay, well, first of all, people have to understand what hepatitis is. It's a viral infection that attacks the liver. And who gets hepatitis B infection? It's people who basically have unprotected sex with people who have hepatitis. It can be mother to child, needle stick injuries, whether you're a healthcare worker, people who share needles, people who actually have hepatitis and share razors and toothbrushes. And the issue is that if you are a mother who does not have hepatitis, so the other issue is that 58% of the women in the United States in the 2019 study who had hepatitis B were not born in the United States. So that was one of the first issues, because hepatitis B is actually endemic in other countries, in Africa, the Middle East, in South America, in Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, and big time in Brazil. So that's one of the issues. So now they're saying, well, if you're a mom in the U.S. and you have a blood test and shows you do not have hepatitis, and in your household you're not having people who are using IV drugs or having risky behavior that will get you hepatitis, why do these kids need to get the vaccine when they're born? So that's where the issue is, and that's where the ACIP, which is the advising committee, voted 8-3. So wait a second, we don't exactly need to vaccinate these kids immediately the day they're born, you can think about it and have a discussion with your doctor. And when the kids are 2 months or older, then you can decide whether to treat hepatitis B, because hepatitis B has no cure. So it is an issue. So that's really where all this came from. I believe in vaccines. Vaccines are incredible. All started back in 1796 with Edward Jenner, who vaccinated for smallpox, and that changed the world. And you need to vaccinate for things like mumps, measles, rubella, polio, tetanus. It's quite amazing. Louis Pasteur, who taught us how to, sterilize our milk, also is the guy who invented the rabies vaccine. So it is a good thing. So basically, people are just starting to question: do you really need to vaccinate? If a mother is tested and doesn't have hepatitis, does the kid need to be vaccinated? Because the kid isn't having, unprotected sex exposed to saliva, blood, and other things that won't really allow. So it's a much lower risk. So I think that's why they started with the hepatitis B issue. So that's to clarify what the thinking was and who's at high risk. It's just like saying if we had an AIDS vaccine, does a newborn baby need to immediately get an AIDS vaccine? So that's really where the thinking is with that. So I think that having basically individual-based decision-making with their physician to decide on that's a high risk. Something like polio, measles, mumps, tetanus, that's different. Those things are amazing, and they've saved so many people from death and from disability. Just think about how polio changed, polio vaccines changed the world. So I think that, in a household, I think people should, be tested. And if you have people in your household who have either active hepatitis, who have evidence of active hepatitis B, then, your baby probably should be getting a vaccine, because they may be potentially exposed to bodily fluids that may give them the disease. So that's the first thing. Next, I'll go to Obamacare if you want.
Obamacare.
Okay. First of all, we have to understand what these subsidies are. Basically, to start off, insurance company profits have gone up like about 1,000% since that time, because basically the government is guaranteeing, let's say insurance costs $1,000 a month. These subsidies are that the insurance companies are getting upfront $500 a month. So whether you use the insurance or not, they get the $500. It's estimated that about 12 million people who are on Obamacare aren't even using the insurance. So, but the insurance company still gets the $500. So that's one of the big arguments. The other issue is that a lot of these plans have $5,000 deductibles. So the insurance company doesn't even have to start paying out till the person themselves meets that deductible of $5,000. Now, what has that done to doctors' offices? People don't meet their deductible, so the doctor's offices now turn into a collection agency or the hospital turns into a collection agency until they get that $5,000, and then the insurance company has to pay out. So it's a big win-win for the insurance companies. There are other options where you don't have the middle man who has to respond to shareholders and show quarterly profits. For example, these Christian sharing programs where people pay $319 a month for a family of four. Yes, they have a deductible, and then basically they share the expense. And that's how like Blue Cross Blue Shield started. Everybody in a community put in $100 a month, and when somebody got sick, they paid for it. So you don't have this middle man who's getting a 30% cut of each time you go to the doctor, and that's one of the issues. And the other thing is that if you follow the money trail on opensecrets.org of the politicians and how they get a lot of the money, you can see some of the biggest recipients of money from insurance companies. So like one of our friends always says, follow the money. And we already have an existing Medicare system that works quite well for people who are 65 and older. And that system doesn't have a middleman getting a 30%. Basically, the system exists So there are ways to strengthen that system that already exists. So instead of taking those subsidies, if you strengthen the Medicare system, then allow people who are 50 years old, for example, to buy into the system and pay $700 a month and have what I call a fair care card, and also do things like risk adjusted where smokers would pay 20% more. And also, you could also give Medicare a 501c3 status. So if billionaires want to contribute to various causes, they can contribute to that fair care system. Now, the Trump Health Freedom Act, basically what they want to do is basically be able to shop for insurance across lines, still cover pre-existing conditions, and basically give people more control and be able to negotiate. Like right now.
Now, those things that you just mentioned, Doctor, were what Republicans were trying when this health care scam called Obamacare was being negotiated, that they were trying to get in. And I'm going to just go straight political because that's what it is. It is a political program. The Democrats told Republicans, hell no. We don't want your input. We don't want talk about insuring across state lines. Neither party really wanted tort reform because of the pressure from the American lawyers that would also mitigate the malpractice end. So Democrats, and we're coming into the holiday season, in 2000, they passed this in the holiday season on Christmas Eve when everyone else busy with their presidents and opening up. Democrats, without a single Republican vote, passed this Obamacare scam. And all of the promises that were made with it have never, ever been delivered. In fact, everything they promised has turned out to be exactly opposite. Healthcare costs didn't go down, they went up. And you all know the rest of it. You couldn't keep your doctor and the like. So I just wanted to add the political component into this as well. The very things that you're talking about, Democrats refused to put in this plan because they did not want any input from people that had other ideas.
I agree with you 100%, and we also need transparency in pricing. Why does an MRI in a hospital cost $2,000, and then you can go privately on the outside and get it for $500? And the other little dirty secret that nobody talks about is the reason why hospital prices are so high is because they can't charge different people different prices. So they have to charge the maximum amount to everybody. Why? Because those people who actually end up paying the maximum amount, they end up subsidizing everyone else. So it's basically a form of socialism where that those people who actually are paying the bill then subsidize all the people who come into the emergency room and say, I don't have insurance, or they a lot of times say, I don't have an address, and then you have nobody to bill and nobody to collect money from. So that's part of the system because the hospitals have to take the burden and take everyone. Everyone has to be treated, but nobody cares that the doctor on call, for example, I know many doctors, including myself, who've given away millions of dollars in free care because if we're voluntary attendings at a hospital and we come in and see people, you take care of them, you operate, you stitch them up, you never get a dime, you'll never see a dime. So that's part of the system that nobody talks about, and a lot of doctors, small mom and pop shops close up because eventually you can't keep giving away free care like many of the voluntary doctors around the country are doing. And that's why now hospitals have to find people and pay them to take call at hospitals. So getting access to specialty care exists. So part of the problem with Obamacare is it's a card without care because many hospitals and many doctors won't take it because they're not going to do an exam that pays $25 for a follow-up visit, or they're not going to do a hernia operation and get paid $300 when just the equipment alone and the materials needed cost $500 or $600. So we need immediate transparency in healthcare to be able to create a competition so various centers can charge, what is fair and appropriate and affordable, because we have a system that's a sick care system. We need to do more on preventive health and doing more with anti-aging and trying to keep ourselves younger and healthier and improve our health span so we don't end up needing the hospital and hospital care. But, there are alternatives.
That is one of the things that I want to bring you back on to speak about. Sadly, we're out of time for this segment. But Dr. Michalos, I thank you. These two very important issues, and I think you have clarified a lot of them for people in the way they should be thinking about them. Especially, I want to say this whole vaccine issue. You have brought amazing clarity to that. And I hope people go back if you missed it, go back if you need to, and refer to this interview to help get the word out of what this is really about. Dr. Peter Michalos, America's doctor.
Thanks for always getting the truth out on your show.
Thank you for joining us. He's amazing, folks. I love this man. He's just amazing and speaks with such clarity. You can get right through the issues. James Golden, Snerdley.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Dom is on the line from Minnesota and has been so patient. Dom, you are in the heart of the scandal. What say you? You have opinions about what is happening. What are they?
Yes, sir. Good morning, James. Fantastic soundbite you played of that guy who agreed with Trump on deporting Ilhan Omar to Somalia. Immigrants are what made this country great. Unfortunately, now, Ilhan Omar is making this country what we don't want it to become. Immigrant-hating, corrupt, violent, lawless, and ghetto-ridden. The civil war in Somalia denied these Somali refugees any political representation. So they became very good community organizers, exactly like the junior senator who became president. I have lived in Minnesota for almost... Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead. Continue.
I have lived in Minnesota for almost 15 years. I used to love going downtown to eat and everything else. Not anymore, because it has become a ghetto. The carjackings are up the wazoo, kids killing kids. So my wife and I, we don't go there anymore. It's unfortunate, but, that's the status of the situation now. Also now, many Somalis are starting to blame African Americans for all their problems. I think Tampon Tim had a point when he said Minnesota is a well-run state, and because of that, it attracts criminals. I couldn't agree with him more on this issue.
Well, let me just say this about that. I never go for the blanket, all of it, but let's just talk about the facts. 75% of this population, brought in, by the way, by Obama in large measure, 75% are on welfare. What sense does it make to stack your country up with people that demand social services when you're having problems delivering social services to the citizens of your country? What sense does that make?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But the problem is, we highlighted that problem. I think Trump brought it out in the open when someone, I think maybe he said 42 million Americans are on SNAP. What the hell are you doing not working? 42 million Americans don't have jobs? I mean, that's when the first time Americans started to understand so many people are on the dole. What's going on with this country? I didn't know that. Many people didn't know that either. So now that it's out in the open.
Well, those numbers went up dramatically during the Biden years and now also add to the equation. 11 million people walked across the border unchecked by Joe Biden. And then you have, speaking of the SNAP program, one of the greatest insults to America. Blue states like yours are refusing to provide the federal government the data to tell who is on these SNAP programs. They're refusing. And they're making it. Kathy Hochul the other day said one of the most politically asinine things I've ever heard in my life. We have it here, but it takes a little. That these people on the welfare program have an expectation of privacy. So their names shouldn't be shared with the federal government. So you're collecting welfare money from the federal government, from the American taxpayer, but according to Kathy Hochul and other Democrats, the very people that are getting federal welfare have an expectation of privacy, so the federal government should not be able to know who they are. Because it's privacy violation to know who's getting the welfare from the very government you're getting the welfare from. It makes no sense. Dom, thank you for the call. James Golden, my friends, is with you. Bo Snerdley. It is the Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. Have that second cup of coffee with us, the third cup if you want. Or maybe you're a tea drinker. Have that if you please. Our number 3 coming up, our number duo done.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Our number trio is here, my friends. It is the Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. James Golden, Bo Snerdley with you, and it is our number 3, which means one thing to those people anxious to hang on to every single word.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
And I hang on to the nest, too. Her royalness, her highness, her intellectualness, her analysisness, all of it. Goodness. It is goodness. From Princess Diana. Welcome, Your Majesty. How are you?
Oh, Sir Jamesness, it is just wonderful to be with you again.
Yes, indeed. Now, you sent me a cut that I hadn't, and I kept trying to figure out, what is this? What is this? This was last night with the former president of the United States. Do I have that right?
Yes, you do.
Well, without any further ado, the former president has reemerged, and let's listen to the former president of these United States, the Honorable Joe Biden.
We just have to get up. As long as we keep the faith, summon hope, and get back up and remember who in the hell we are. We're the United States of America. That's who we are. We're the U.S. And there's nothing. I mean...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're the United... Play that again, Kevin, please. Because I want to make sure I got it right.
We just have to get up.
We have to.
As long as we keep the faith, summon hope, and get back up and remember who in the hell we are. We're the United States of America.
Ow!
It's just so... I just loved... I played that when I saw it last night on a loop because it made me laugh every single time. It reminds me of, when he said, oh, you know the thing, he forgot the name of the country. Okay, I was the United States of America. Well, okay then. Thank you, Sir Joe.
Oh, my goodness. And that reminds me, I wish I had it. The famous Ted Kennedy that Rush used to play. Ted Kennedy at the convention when he just started babbling in incoherence.
Yes. And Rush would get laughing, and that was so infectious. It was hilarious every single time. And I'm hoping you keep this one, at the ready. Whenever Biden is in the news, it's only 15 seconds, and it just could be a good reminder for people.
The United States of America got it.
Got it. Well, anyway, I appreciate the moment of humor because, on the other hand, this has been a really serious week. And I want to talk about something that really, I think, came together as to what we were seeing. And a lot of times when the left makes maneuvers and the deep state makes maneuvers, it takes a while to see the full picture. And on Thursday, this is my interpretation, I think we saw the anti-Pete Hegseth operation of the deep state. Two things came together on Thursday, and I really want to go through the timeline a little bit. And first of all, to remind people that Pete Hegseth was confirmed on January 24th by a 51-50 margin, and Vice President Vance had to step in and break the tie. There were Republicans who did not vote to confirm Hegseth. He is hated by the establishment, by the deep state, by a lot of forces in the Pentagon. And so since he was confirmed over the, basically the huge objections of the people who think they run the show of foreign policy and everything else, there have been maneuverings to get rid of him. He is despised, and I think we saw two things come together on Thursday that were part of what we had talked about, the Seditious Six video, if you remember. And on Thursday, there were two things that happened. There was a closed-door testimony by U.S. Navy Admiral Frank Bradley, who was commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command with the September 2nd drug boat attack, and also the IG report from Signalgate was released on Thursday. And in my view, looking at how all the timeline unfolded, the deep state wants to get rid of Pete Hegseth. They knew this IG report was coming out this week. The original event for the IG report happened March 15th of 2025 when there were strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. And the communication, if you recall, that the Pete Hegseth was on with several members discussing what was about to go down, happened to have an Atlantic reporter on the Signal conversation, and he reported it. And that was a huge embarrassment. It was a problem. And so the Inspector General looked into what had happened, and so this was the first controversy that was ginned up by the media, by the left, and we have to get rid of them. That was the cry, and it turned out, according to the Inspector General report, that there was not classified information released. It was not a good thing that happened, but it didn't endanger any troops. And so the deep state knew this report was old news to most Americans. It wasn't going to get enough of a controversy, so they knew they needed to have something else come out at the same time. And that, to me, is what the explanation is for the Seditious Six video. That basically was released randomly on November 18th about the drug boat attack from September 2nd. And it was just out of the blue. Everyone was trying to figure out. Everyone knew it was damaging and terrible and bad. This idea that they were saying don't obey illegal orders. It was an address to the military not to obey illegal orders. And then when they were asked what illegal orders have been given, they pretended, we don't have any idea. A couple of days later, the Washington Post released the article about that event, basically claiming that Pete Hegseth was telling the operations people to kill everybody, and that he was aware that there were quote-unquote survivors of the first initial missile attack, and that he basically was heartless and cruel, and this was an illegal order according to the framing of the Washington Post. So we see those two things happen in November. And you immediately had huge controversy with both parties, raising questions. We need answers. And so on the same day that the Inspector General report was released on Signalgate Thursday, we had the U.S. Navy Admiral Frank Bradley brought to closed door testimony to answer for this event. So you have two past events, September 2nd, which was the drug boat attack, and then you have this March 15th strike on the Houthis in Yemen. The deep state manufactured these two controversies to be broken open in the heart of the Congress on the same day. And I think that they were hoping that this would be the end of Pete Hegseth. And one of the reasons I think that, I don't know if you've heard this because this is outrageous. The day before, Navy Admiral Frank Bradley was to testify. This is December 3rd, this week. Mark Warner went on Morning Joe, and he said, I think in many ways the uniformed military may help save us from this president and his lame people like Hegseth. He basically was saying that, confirming what the seditious six had said in the video, is that, basically we need a military coup. And he said it out loud. He is ranking member. He's a Democrat, senator from Virginia, ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He is deep state of deep state. And when he says, in many ways, the uniformed military may help save us from this president and his lame people like Hegseth. He knew that the testimony was happening the next day. He knew that both of these controversial moments were going to be in the Congress, and he was giving the signal that this is the time. We've got these two events. We've got, the public is a little bit riled up on some of these things. It's time to get rid of Hegseth. And I think Hegseth well survived because Frank Bradley, according to all the people who heard the closed-door testimony, said that Hegseth never gave that order to kill everybody. It never happened. The way everything was lawful, the way everything went down, there were many JAG officers, the legal arm of the military, in the room and approved everything that happened. So to me, the failure of the deep state, this was their best shot, but I think it's clear now that we look back on the chronology that this was the operation that they were attempting. It was aimed at Pete Hegseth.
And I will just add to that there are Republicans who supported it. You had Tom Tillis. I'm not saying he supported it, but he's one of the ones demanding to know where Pete Hegseth went when he left the room and all this stuff. So you do have some Republicans that chime in with Democrats on some of these points. And that, I think, goes to your point of there is a deep state operation here that involves members of both parties.
Absolutely. And, as I mentioned, it started on the confirmation hearing that this was something that they were not going to take laying down. The deep state was not going to give up. And these two events on Thursday this week, I think, were the culmination of an operation, but it failed. And so the strength of the Trump cabinet, the strength of Pete Hegseth and the support he has in the country is hugely important, and we need to be vocal about it. Interestingly enough, yesterday, the national security memo was released, and I've been talking about this, but it was explicitly the Trump administration reasserted the Monroe Doctrine, which is basically restoring American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere.
And I'm going to talk about that when we get back just for a second, because you said, I just want to go through how the New York Times or one of them interpreted that. Well, here it is right now. I'll just give you the headline from the New York Times today. Trump's security strategy focuses on profit, not spreading democracy. How dare him? How dare him actually try to make America profitable instead of looking at the spread of democracy? That's the way that the New York Times interpreted it. And it's amazing. We got to take a quick break.
The James Golding Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golding Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, and Princess Di, Your Highness, I want to take you back in a time capsule for one moment, 36 years ago. Princess Di, I want you to identify who this person is. This is related to the strikes that you are talking about, the strikes on narco-terrorists. And here's the person. See, Princess Diana, if you can tell us who this person is.
Every president for the past 2 decades, Democrat and Republican alike, has declared war on drugs. And each of them has lost that war and lost it miserably. They lost because they attempted to deal with only part of the drug problem. They lost because their initiatives were pulled apart by bureaucratic squabbling among their advisors. They lost because they always did too little and they did it too late. We don't oppose the president's plan. All we want to do is strengthen it. We don't doubt his resolve. All we want to do is stiffen it. The trouble is that the president's proposals are not big enough to deal with the problem. We think we should do more to stem the flow of drugs across our borders, and we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it. We have to lock up the dealers for a long, long time, and we have to attack the source from which the drugs come. And we have to do that not a piece at a time, but all at once. And we have to do it now. And there's not any reason why we can't do that. We have the power, we have the money, and we have the knowledge.
Princess Diana, do you recognize who that is?
It sounds exactly like the future president of the United States of America. And so it sounds like Joseph Biden.
We just have to keep as long as we keep the faith, summon hope, and get back up and remember who in the hell we are. We're the United States of America. That's who we are.
That is exactly who it was. Demanding that we strike the narco-terrorists where they are, which is exactly what is taking place now that his party is opposed to. Okay, so you mentioned to me that there is a Forbes article that you wanted to discuss. I have not seen the article. What is it?
It is titled, "The Invisible Job Crisis. America's third largest employer is hemorrhaging talent." And it is a woe is me, how awful, how sad, how terrible, according to Forbes, that basically the social sector, which is nonprofits, NGOs, and USAID, are basically having trouble keeping their workers employed. And I know you and I have disagreed because you have such a good heart, James, and you always feel for people who lose their jobs. And I, on the other hand, look at this as such a healthy thing when people who are in parasitical and, basically awful parts of the economy that basically take from the taxpayer have to actually find work. And that is what's happening based on the fact that the USAID has been cut way back, has been closed thanks to DOGE, and the NGOs and the non-governmental organizations are basically being shut down by Donald Trump. So this article is, a horrible warning to people not to go into the field. And so I have been enjoying it 100%. They are mad that they are consider themselves overqualified and that they get ghosted in interviews and that potential employers don't call them back. So they want the rich to come in and fund them again.
Oh, no. Oh, Princess Diana, truly amazing.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We start in the Bronx with Richie. How are you, Richie?
Okay, thank you, James. Good morning. Ultimately, it is the drug users that are responsible for their own deaths because they are purchasing drugs that are illicit, even if they're not adulterated, and they are purchasing them from illicit sources. Now, I'm not saying we should not go after the suppliers and that the suppliers don't share blame, but the users.
I keep saying oops because you
share blame
stepped in
also.
it. You stepped in it. You actually, may I ask you a question, historical question? When the Chinese had an opium problem, do you know what they did? This is
no,
way
I don't.
back, last century.
I know there were opium wars. I've heard of opium wars, but I don't know exactly what they were.
Okay. Guess what they did? And I'll give you more up to date. Philippines had a massive drug problem. They had this new president called Duarte. You know what he said? He told people, kill the drug users. That's what he said. Now, guess what? And he said, by the way, that he said you put them out of their misery. And people were shocked all around the world. But his country went after drug users. And you know what happened? Drug use went down dramatically.
Of course, yes.
Crises abated. I'm just saying. We don't want to talk about that in this country. It's a disease. You have to be kind. In history, there have been countries that said, oh, we got a drug problem. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of the drug users. And drug problem was over. I'm just saying. I'm not advocating, folks. Don't get me wrong. I'm just putting out historical fact. Thank you for the call, Richie. Chris in Catskills, New York. Always a pleasure. What's on your mind this morning?
Frontline PBS 2009, the backroom dealings behind Obama's healthcare plan. Very great piece. It's not pro-Affordable Care Act. It actually talks about how Obama wanted originally to have a government option and that his administration caved into the insurance companies which wrote the plan. Only 6 states have state in-house exchange programs: New York, New Jersey, Vermont, Colorado, California, and Maryland, up to age 37. Other states have other in-state programs like Washington and Massachusetts. Those in-state exchange programs allow individual states to subsidize yearly and monthly insurance plans and premiums, respectively, through an in-house utilization of federal Medicaid funds. So this is an element of these in-state subsidy programs is a states' right issue, 10th Amendment. The notion of allowing insurance companies to plans to be spread across state lines is an idea that could only potentially work in regions of the country that have multiple small states that are geographically clustered together, like New England, or for residents who live in border areas of neighboring states. And the federal government would have to mandate that doctors and hospitals and healthcare providers take out-of-state patients. Dr. Michalos' idea of expanding upon Medicare is actually ties into the original point I was making about Obama's original idea of creating a government option. So a simple expansion of Medicare would be to lower the age of enrollment to, like, say, age 60.
Interesting. Chris, I want to hear more on this at another point. In fact, I want to devote an hour at some point to Obamacare itself. Let me just ask you one quick question before I let you go and move on. Do you think the subsidies, the way they are, where you have in some cases people that are making very slight incomes subsidizing people that are making $250,000, do you think these subsidies should be extended?
Well, it depends on exactly which subsidies. There's a lot of problems with our healthcare system. I could spend an hour with you. I think Dr. Michalos is brilliant, but, you know, there's more to, like, the idea that you were explaining and the idea that he was explaining. And, you know, it would be nice to see both parties work together to try and negotiate a better health care plan. We don't have enough elected officials that know enough about health care. You know, even somebody like Rand Paul, he'll say things that are off the mark regarding health care that aren't fully informed, you know. And in my experience has been that there's just not enough elected officials on all levels that know enough about healthcare, so the healthcare administrators are able to take advantage of the system.
Well said, Chris. Thank you. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Mary in Richmond is on the line. Good morning, Mary.
Thank you for taking my call. I don't know if you're still talking about the immigration problem
Of course
that we're
we are.
having.
What's on your mind with it?
Well, it just seems to me that when the Irish and the Italians came into this country, they did not get help from the government. The Vietnamese, when they came into this country, they developed and established businesses. The Somalians came in and they stole billions of dollars.
No! Oh, no, Mary.
And one more statement is,
yes,
the dreamers that have been in this country 10, 20, 30 years, why have they not become American citizens?
Because that is not their fault. Because in some cases, because the American system of doing that for people that are here illegally is so complex to navigate through and very expensive, by the way, Mary. But I appreciate the call.
That may be true. But you see the people that want to become have become. And another thing about the dreamers.
Yes.
They take from this country. They demand education and everything like that. Why don't they go back to Mexico? And
because
fight
many of
for
them
their
never
own
were
country?
in Mexico. Hold it, honey, darling, listen, please. Some of them were born here.
That may be true.
That is true. They weren't. Look, don't put me in a position of defending the dreamers. But for goodness sakes, let's be fair, too. Some of the children had no choice. They were born here. And I think we at least have to acknowledge that and try to find some kind of a solution. But I agree with the point. But their parents came here willingly. And that cannot be ignored either, Mary. How about that?
Then let me have one more statement. Then why is there loyalty to Mexico and not to this
now,
country?
that is not a fair statement. What you're doing is looking and making a general statement about what is in everybody's heart, and you have no way of knowing that. And neither do I. We don't know what's in other people's heart. So let's not pretend that we do, okay?
Okay, I'll agree with you. I'll concede to that.
Okay. All right, honey. I love you.
And
I
listen,
love you, Mary.
one more thing.
You just said one more thing
Christmas.
ago. Merry Christmas? Is that your one more thing?
That's my one more thing.
Here's my one more
Christmas.
thing. Have a wonderful Christmas, Mary. Love you. Thank you for calling.
And thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes. Time to check in with America's small caffeinated mom. Rhonda Schrock is here with us. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning, James. I don't know about where you're living, but where I am, it's beginning to look a whole lot like Christmas, and I could not be happier about that.
Well, you're welcome to that beautiful snow. You sent me pictures of it. It is exquisite looking.
It is. Yes. Christmas is coming up. It's rushing at me like a freight train. And actually, 2 weeks from today, my husband has pulled off his own version of a Hallmark Christmas miracle. And he has managed to get our 3 sons, who all live in separate states, on the same flight into our airport. So 2 weeks from now, I will be headed to the airport. We will be headed to pick up those young men. How he managed that is unclear. What else is unclear is whether one cabin can hold 3 brothers who are in the middle of a fiery debate. As I was preparing, looking ahead to Christmas, I was planning menus, of course. And I know our 2 holiday pies are chocolate and Aunt Iola's spiced maple pumpkin, which is the most delightful pumpkin pie you could ever have. And so I just posted a question in the family chat that went like this. For Christmas, should I make 2 pumpkin pies and 1 chocolate, or 2 chocolate and 1 pumpkin? Well, that question, chaos was unleashed. It was the equivalent of a familial World War III. The family was deadlocked with a 3-3 tie. And so one brilliant thinker here invoked the Electoral College. He happens to be a chocolate voter. So he tallied up his 40 electoral votes, added our 11, because he took one of us, grabbed our 11 electoral votes, added up the 2 other states, and he declared a 51-19 chocolate victory. Well, his brothers are not having it. So that debate continues to just rage. In fact, I even posted a poll on my social media to see if our friends could help us decide, and everybody just had so much fun with it. The suggestion of 2 of each kind. When I ran the math, 32 pieces of pie is too much even for all of our molars. So as they continue to hammer that out, I pressed them this week to submit their final Christmas list because we're getting very close. Well, the cub, who is the last but not the least in this family, he submits his Christmas list in a private chat group with his dad and I that he has titled Mom and Dad's Favorite Child. Well, that always makes me laugh, but I looked at his Christmas list, and if this doesn't sound like a teenage boy, this was his list. The light blue mini toolbox from Lowe's, the bigger Spalding mini hoop, parentheses, it's $68, an IU bomber jacket, plus a clock and a pendant to, and I quote, spruce up my room a little more. Well, in the middle of his long list, he inserted this, and this is a direct quote. I guess some things do cost an arm and a leg, but that's okay. I'm willing to have 2-limbed parents. So I howled when he wasn't around, and then I informed him it's going to be a little hard for a 2-limbed mother to make all that pie. So let's adjust this, buddy. It has just been so much fun. They're not even here, and we're having so much fun already. And I shared all of this family interaction for a reason. We do have a lot of fun in our family. Before we were ever parents, I had no idea how much it would matter to me that my children would have strong, loving relationships between them. It's just not something I thought about that I would care so much about. But on this side of the parenting gig with 4 grown sons, the connections and the love that they share and that they have for one another, in my experience, is rare. And it is breathtaking. There is very little in this life that gives my husband and I more sheer happiness and joy than to see their interactions and their loving connections. And I have told them in the past, this is very important to me that you guys love each other and you are deeply bonded. That way, for 2 reasons, you will always have a support group. And when Dad and I are gone and are not here to support you, you will have each other. It's very important to me. Well, they have just formed these basically on their own. Now, when they were young, they would fight. If you wore your brother's socks, you could get pounded. If you called yourself Dr. Love and offered him romantic advice, you would really get thumped. And so they had their issues. And for 2 of them in particular, over the years, there were hard feelings and hurts that developed. And they carried that into adulthood. That I knew was something they would have to work out between them. And when they were ready, they did. They, as adults, took responsibility for their own part in their hurts and the hard feelings that they had, and they worked it out. Now, the one son, as you know, he distanced himself from the family for a long time. And as he was gone, I watched as the other 3 became very tightly connected, a very tight circle. And I held my breath when the distant, estranged one came back because I did not know if the other three would be able to open up that tight circle and let him in. Well, his first Christmas back, it was just beautiful because he came home with humility. He did not try to force his way into that circle. He served the family, actually. He was very gracious, but I watched as his three siblings opened up that tight circle and matched him grace for grace. They made their signature homemade tacos. They have a very special recipe for their tacos, and they served him. They wanted him to experience this delight that they had come up with while he was gone. And it was just beautiful, and especially to see all of that at the Christmas season, his first Christmas back with the lights and the music. It was like a little bit of heaven had come to earth. I offer this today because I know there are families where the children do not get along with each other. Of course, there are fractured relationships between parents and children, but today I especially want to address the relationships between your children. And if you are in grief over fractured relationships between your children, hold fast. Do everything that lies within your power to be the source of light and love in your family, the uniter and not the divider. And you may not know this, James, but there are many, far too many families where the parents pit the children against each other. It's awful. It's so destructive. If you are doing that, you need to stop. You need to be the uniter, not the divider. Be the first to make amends, the first to open closed doors, and the last one off of your knees. And just see if a little heaven might come to the earth where you are.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.